1150kknw.com, your connection to Alternative Talk, 1150 AM.
Welcome back to Success Mashup Radio. I've got Eric Michelson and Alex Overland, co-founders of Can't Stop Moving. And Eric and Alex actually moved out to Seattle area from Boston after working at moving companies on the East Coast. They decided there was a better way to communicate, organize, and help customers. So they started their own moving company. And pretty excited because we did a little bit of research, went out to Yelp and saw they had like over 135-star reviews. And we figured who better to come on the show and talk about just, how they do their business, how they provide a good service. And I'm pretty excited to have these two guys on. So welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
All right, very cool. So hopefully we get some little East Coast accent here. And first of all, tell us a little bit about your company's philosophy. Like I said, we saw lots of good reviews on Yelp, so you obviously know what it takes to provide good customer service. Last week we had on Keith Lee, the author of How to Out Nordstrom, the how to provide world class or the world's best customer service. He wrote a book on it, and we talked about it. And so you guys would have been a great guest on that show too. But talk to me a little bit about what does that mean? What customers for life? What was your?
Well, basically what it comes down to is that most people aren't just going to move once. They're going to have to keep moving over and over again, and we want to be there for each one of those. There are a lot of the bigger companies that don't really care so much about their reputation because they have the advertising, they have the name for being in business for 50, 60 years. We didn't want to go about it like that. We'd rather have people like us at the end of the day, keep using us again, refer us to their friends, their family, and kind of keep it up like that. And so far, it's worked out for us.
Very good. Okay, cool. Okay, so tell me, let's go ahead and just talk about some of the biggest tips that you guys would recommend. So if I'm getting ready to move right now, and let's just say I know I'm going to be moving in a couple months from now, not tomorrow, but for that person that likes to get prepared a little bit, what are some of the tips that you would give somebody that's getting ready to move so they're not so overwhelmed?
Well, I think one point, probably the most important thing is getting rid of anything that you don't necessarily use day to day or that you don't have a point for. So many times we show up to these houses and we've kind of brought the term chowder from Boston out here. We call every piece that doesn't fit into a box or necessarily isn't something you want to bring to your new place chowder, and that's what really kills the load. It takes more time, and it's just a danger once it's in the truck because it isn't in a box. So that's typically where you want to start, is getting rid of anything that you don't need. Number two, I would definitely say if you have dogs, cats, any types of animals, you definitely want them out of the house that day or in a room. I can't tell you how many times we've been carrying a couch downstairs and we've got dogs nipping at our feet, things like that. It's dangerous for us, dangerous for the dogs, and dangerous for the piece of furniture. Also children. Same thing with children. It's dangerous for everybody, and it's tough for us to communicate when there's a baby crying or, a dog barking, things like that. So those are two of the biggest points, definitely. Also, labeling the boxes to which room they're going to go to. It makes our life a lot easier instead of having to look for the customer every time to figure out where box A goes. There should always be a label on it. And also to have the customer there with us goes a long way, too. We've had plenty of jobs where the customer will actually disappear while we're unloading, and we're kind of stranded as far as where the box goes or the piece of furniture. So it goes a long way.
Okay. So if somebody was to do a move on their own, I guess what would be the one of the tips also that you would recommend somebody if they were to? And I have experience on both sides of this. So of moving on my own, moving with friends, buying them beer and pizza, and actually hiring a moving company. I'll tell you right now that it was unbelievable. The amount of money that I spent on the moving company, I would have paid twice as much. And at the time when I remember writing the check or paying with a credit card, I was like, this is expensive, But when that day, when they showed up and moved everything, and everything was moved, put away at the next house, it was unreal. I mean, and especially my other half, she enjoyed it even more than I did. I should have had her pay for it. But you guys probably understand, right? I mean, you have a lot of happy customers at the end of the day, I assume.
Yeah, we do, and a lot of people think that they can just bribe their friends with a pizza and beer, but not only does that add up after a while, but you have a bunch of drunk friends loading up your stuff, driving your truck, and the inevitable damage is probably less if you care about your furniture than if you just pay us, and we can get done in 2-3 hours what it might take you and your friends a pickup truck in half a day to do.
Yeah, and also if you're renting a U-Haul, a lot of people will rent a U-Haul and they'll spend 2 days with it or 3 days with it. You end up spending a bunch of money doing that. You end up spending a lot of money and time, and just unbelievable. I believe 100% I would never, ever move again without hiring a moving company, at least for a portion of it. And I know you tell me a little bit about the differences of, like, if somebody was to hire a moving company, maybe they're on a budget, or is there different types of service that they can use, like just this or just that?
I'd say the best way to save money and to be time efficient is definitely anything that's in a box, anything that's small that you can take over on your own. It might even be worth renting the truck from U-Haul for 3 hours, just to, if it's something you feel like you can do and you have the time for it, it's definitely going to save you a couple $100s. As far as the big stuff, I would, always recommend a moving company. There's too many pieces that do offer too much, damage if you don't have the time and experience. But yeah, as far as saving time, I'd just say anything small that you feel like you can take on yourself, all the boxes, that will definitely save a couple hours. And then it's easier for the movers as well once they get there. It's a cleaner house, a cleaner environment, and they can just go on and tackle the bigger pieces.
Gotcha. Okay. Tell me, I've got a little story here about a news story with this terminal ill lady that was moving out of state from Florida. Tell me a little bit about that story.
Yeah, actually, this is one, ever since we came out here and started this, my father is always just searching for different stories like that, and he sent this over to me probably about a month or two ago. And it was a woman who was terminally ill with cancer, moving from Florida to Oklahoma, somewhere like that, contracted one of the big van lines to do the move for her, and they subcontract out the local work on either end. This guy takes her money, loads up all her stuff, drives it, I think it was 15, 20 minutes away, unloads everything, and sells it to the first bidder for $100. So now the police go out looking for him. Luckily, one of the neighbors was a good Samaritan, called the police, but they recovered most of her stuff. This guy is still on the loose, and this is just what happens. And not to that extreme, but it happens more often than people realize, that there are just bad movers out there that don't care about people or their stuff.
So what can somebody do to make sure they don't hire a bad mover? What are some of the steps that I could do when it comes to hiring somebody or researching?
Well, I think research is a key word. The reviews that we have don't lie. They are what they are. Also, being licensed, insured, bonded, things like that. And also calling and having a conversation with the person on the other end of the phone and getting a good feel for that moving company, asking the right questions, but really doing your research. There's so many good review sites such as Yelp and Angie's List. You can really find the right mover if you put enough time and effort into it. And also, a lot of it's on the customer's part, as well as being informative and explaining the situation that we're about to go into. We can only do as much with the information as we're given. So that goes a long way, knowing how far the access is, exactly what they have. That's the way we're going to provide our service to the best of its ability. Okay.
So tell me about your moving checklist. What for somebody? Tell me about. I know you guys have a moving checklist that somebody can go to your website and check out. Tell me what that is about and how it would help somebody.
Yeah, there are a couple parts of that. The first one is basically just tips to be as well prepared as you can, because the more prepared that you are as a customer, the quicker that we can work and the more money that they're going to save in the long run. And that's more or less, if things can go in a box, they should be put in a box, and keeping your pets out of the way. We love dogs, but again, when we're tripping over them and the furniture breaks, that doesn't help anybody.
Right.
And then the checklist itself is just things that you should be doing, especially if you're going to be a new homeowner, a month, 2 months in advance, to just be prepared with life more so than the move itself, changing over your utility information, letting your friends and family know about your change of address, things like that. And there's a ton of stuff on there that I don't remember most of it off the top of my head. But
yeah, so how would somebody find it if they wanted to go check it out? Or
if they navigate through our website, They can just click on the Moving Tips link, and then from there, the checklist is on a separate page from that, and you can kind of take a look at it at your leisure and figure out what you need to do.
So it's can'tstopmoving.com,
Correct.
Right? That's the website? Okay, can'tstopmoving.com. So also notice you guys have got some eco boxes or eco boxes, I assume. What's an eco box?
It's pretty much, if you're familiar with an Amazon Fresh box, it's about 2 feet by 18 inches by 14 inches, and it's made out of a hard plastic. It replaces the use of a cardboard box, and we typically get 50 to 60 uses out of them.
Oh, wow.
So they're definitely eco-friendly. And one of the best parts about them is that, A, they do protect it better. It's definitely a lot more protective than a soft cardboard. and B, you can stack them 8 to 9 eco boxes high compared to a cardboard box, which only goes 3 or 4 before they start, tumbling over, losing the stability. So you could pack your entire kitchen instead of spreading all these boxes all throughout your house and having a tough time getting around. Now you can keep them all in your kitchen within about 6 feet.
Oh,
and
wow. You gotta show up and just boom, 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 and take them
right.
out.
And you can fit about 5 or 6 of them on a dolly compared to 3 or 4 cardboard boxes. So it expedites the process. It's a lot easier for us and the customer, and you end up saving a lot of money in the end because it's that much more efficient.
Okay. Very cool. All right. Well, if you're getting ready to move, or if you know somebody that is, I'd recommend going to can'tstopmoving.com. At least see what they have to offer as far as tips for moving. And if you do need to hire somebody, I would recommend hiring them. And a lot of other people would too. So appreciate it, guys. Thanks for coming on. And we're going to be back in about a minute or two talking about just customer service in general for service-related businesses, and how people can really. How do they know when they want to find a service that would be actually good for their business? So we'll be back in 2 minutes with Success Mashup Radio.